Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sustainer and the creator of the whole universe. We thank him and we seek his forgiveness and we seek his assistance. And we seek for his protection against the evil of our souls and our actions. Whosoever Allah Ta'ala guides, you shall find no one to misguide him. And whosoever is misled, you shall find no one to guide him aright. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the servant and the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I pray that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us guidance in this our meeting, and may he make the fruits that will come from this meeting a one that is going to profit the whole ummah and the whole community in general. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the present condition of pandemic that we find ourselves in, and to bring us to a condition of ease. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant everyone who is in a difficult condition ease in his affairs. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم كره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Allahumma ameen. Thank you very much, Madam Gambo. May Allah accept, may Allah be with every one of us and accept the prayer. Ameen. So we move on to the next item on the agenda, which will be a welcome address by Dr. Adam, the leader of the community. Yeah, hello.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ما يهدي الله فلا مضل له وما يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم وما يطيع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد وخير الحديث كتاب الله وخير هدي نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أيها الأحبة في الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his mercy on each and every one of us. We thank him for the protection. We thank him for the sustenance. We thank him for various mercies of his that he has bestowed on each and every one of us, and especially for counting us among those people that witness yet another day of this nature. So, which is Eid get together. So it is not by our making that we are able to witness this year's Eid, no matter the situation or the condition under which we observe the Eid. Definitely, this is a huge message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we thank him for it. But there are several people who have wished to be available today, but for one reason or the other, they are not even available in the world anymore. They have gone to the great beyond. So not because they are sinners, but their time has come. So it behoves us then to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala profusely for this mercy, for sparing our life till now. and from counting us among those people that witness again yet another Eid. We thank him and we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, and we testify that that if we want to count the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, definitely we cannot finish counting. We only pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the appreciation and glorification from us. And as he has promised, that if we appreciate, if we thank him, he's going to increase us further in his mercy. May he continue to increase us in his mercy and his rahmah. Having said this, I also thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on behalf of my fellow brothers who successfully defended their thesis of recent, which culminated in the successful completion of their master's degree and PhDs in NCUPM. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in it, especially when I was informed by the chairman of the social committee, Brother Tajudeen, that our team, some of our brothers that came en masse, the team, they said where we have so many students, that these are the set that are finishing. I said, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It was just like yesterday that some of these brothers arrived, but then, by the mercy of Allah, they completed their study. So I start by using this opportunity to thank Allah on your behalf and by wishing you all the best in your future endeavor and praying that Allah put blessings and barakah in the degree that has been conferred on you. Bi rahmatika ya arhamur rahimin. Next, I also use this opportunity to welcome everybody on board this particular Eid get-together, the first of its kind that we are having Eid get-together online. So, which is actually another experience entirely. So, and I hope and I wish everybody a very nice and interesting get-together and the Sendforth program for our brother. So I appreciate the effort of the social committee and all the community members that have been involved in one way or the other towards making this day a reality. May Allah reward you abundantly. Also, the speakers for the day that have been contacted one way or the other, including our brothers, both inside KFUPM and outside KFUPM, and even from Nigeria, Dr. Tesle. May Allah reward you all for sacrificing your time to be with us. And I wish each and one of us a very nice get-together. So as the several topics have been itemized, so because of our time, I'm just going to cut my own welcome statement short. However, before I hand over to the master of the occasion, after congratulating the graduating students and also all other brothers that might have graduated before, I use this opportunity that we should all remember the present situation that we are in the world. This should take us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a very big message I want each and one of us to take, that it should take us closer to Allah, our Creator, that it should make us to realize that it is only in Him that we can seek refuge. There's no refuge in anything beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like we have seen that the whole world, powerful and the weak, has been rendered powerless just by a very small creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we cannot even see except they use extremely powerful microscope before they can even see it. And yet it has rendered the whole economy of the world to be on their nail. The superpower and the mini power and the developed and the underdeveloping, all of them have no option than to bow to this very minute creation. As we can see, nowhere feels secure. So while praying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of infinite mercy, help us to remove this pandemic as soon as possible, we also need to take lessons that it is an opportunity for us to move closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For the past 79 days, especially in Saudi Arabia here, we've been praying at home. So everybody, both the one with family, we don't without family. So in this is a big science for the people who can reason. So I hope we take this particular message very clearly and let it guide our way. And as we move to the world, especially our new students, and also each and every one of us, any decision we are going to make, we should always put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the number one, the most important. Whatever decision that is going to prevent us from fulfilling the purpose of our creation, which is وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. We have not created man and jinn, but to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the essence of creation is for us to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should put this in mind always. So that whenever we want to take decision, either to take a new job, or to make a move, or to emigrate, or to immigrate, we should always put it in front of our decision making. Is it going to take me closer to worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If you're a family man, is it going to make it easy for me and my family to worship Allah the more? If the answer is not in the affirmative, then we have to be careful of such a decision, because we cannot guarantee, no one can guarantee what can happen in the next few minutes, just like we can see what has happened. You see, the so-called secured world suddenly became the weakest of them, because the pandemic started from some of this part of the world. For the first time in history, for some of us that might be very current, at the beginning of the like early time of March, we had people from Italy who went to Uganda and Kenya for vacation. Italians, they refused to leave African countries, even though their visa already expired. Why? Because they saw African countries as being more secured at that point in time. They couldn't return back to their country. So this is a big message for each and every one of us, that in reality, no country is secured except who Allah made to be secured. Our security is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the same way, our risk is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if I move to social place, I'm going to get better. No, it is Allah alone that can make someone to be self-sufficient, to be better. So this is my advice to each and every one of us, to myself first and to every one of us, that when we want to take decisions, let us always remember that my purpose of creation is to worship Allah. Is this decision going to take me closer to worshiping Allah, or is it going to take me to the other way around, away from worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If it's going to take us closer to worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we go ahead. Otherwise, we should always rethink such a decision that might create hindrance in our dedication to the purpose of our creation. So this is the point of my welcome speech, or the summary of my welcome speech for us today, that we should always think deeply about whatever decision we're going to take. To the young graduates, I wish you all the best. There are challenges in the world, but I want you to know that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will provide for you no matter how difficult things is. وَمَا يَتَقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. He said, for those that fears Him, that have consciousness of Him, He will provide for them from sources He never imagined. So no matter the pandemic, your job will come when Allah says it's going to come. So we only need to build on our faith, move closer to Him. Let's put our trust in Him. Of course, explore opportunities. Don't kick out an opportunity. Don't step down an opportunity because you think you have an opportunity somewhere else. You can look after one or two simultaneously while also observing the basic tenets of etiquette, of appointments and promises. So in essence, always remember that your success, our success is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our protection is in the hands of Allah. Our security is in the hands of Allah. It's not in the hands of anywhere, anybody. It's not in any country. The success lies purely with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why your exploration of opportunities, make it very wide. Our home country is there. The country we are presently is there. And don't forget, your decision, is this decision going to make me move closer to Allah, or is my hinder me from fulfilling my responsibility as slaves of Allah in this world, which is to worship Him? I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this gathering a source of a source of goodness and guidance for each and every one of us, and facilitate us and forgive us our shortcoming, for indeed He is oft forgiving, most merciful. أقول ما سمعت أستغفر لي ولكم إنه هو غفور رحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. We appreciate you for the wonderful speech and advice you have given every one of us. May Allah continue to guide you and guide everyone. So before we move on to the next item on the agenda, we have a brief question to ask our participants. So we are going to be launching the first poll on the screen. So kindly, it's just a single question. So kindly choose which option is better for you. I think we have the screen now. It will be available for like 30 to 45 seconds. Now, okay. So we have the poll. We see majority of our participants. Are joining us from Saudi Arabia. We have people from America, from Nigeria, and from others. We can see the results on our poll on our screen over there. Thank you very much for participating in this. So we move on to the next agenda on the screen now, where we have a farewell speech by selected graduates. We have some of the students that are graduating. We have selected some of them to speak to us about what they feel about the community in general, about the KFUPM, and what have they experienced. They came, they saw, and they conquered. So we are going to be starting with Mr. Idris Bello. Mr. Idris Bello, please, you have the floor. If you are available, kindly go ahead. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah wahda. Wassalatu wassalam ala man la nabiyya min ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Verily, all praise is due to Allah, our creator, protector, guide, provider, and sustainer. We thank him for seeing us through the end of our programs, be it masters or PhD. We pray he puts barakah in it for us and continue to guide us as we tread through the path of our lives. On behalf of my colleagues and myself, we would like to express our profound gratitude to KFUPM for granting us the scholarship opportunity to study here with a full tuition waiver and subsidized living expenses. We'd like to also express our gratitude to our various departments for supporting us and providing us with all essentials we needed to excel in our academic pursuit, and likewise to our course instructors for fortifying us with a world-class and refined knowledge that will make us marketable in the corporate world. Very importantly, to the NCUPM, which is spearheaded by Dr. Adam, who happens to be like a fatherly figure to us here in KFUPM. We want to express our gratitude for being a touch and illumination that made our academic and spiritual journey here in the kingdom worthwhile and successful. And also our gratitude goes to our beloved brothers and senior colleagues who have guided us in selecting the right ingredients, that is, courses, and making some good decisions regarding our survival and success here. We also want to express our gratitude to our colleagues whom we came down here together in term 172. I remember January 2018, who have been very supportive and helpful with regards to achieving our objectives here. And also and lastly, finally, to our beloved country for imbuing us with skill set and survival instincts that makes us to be able to empathize to any environment we find ourselves in. We say a big thank you to all the respected those I have mentioned. I'm sorry I could not be mentioning names in order to save time and avoid leaving out any names, because you are all here and important to us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all in all our affairs and continue to guide us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the speech. So we move on to the next speaker, Mr. Abdulmalik Aminu. Please, we endeavor all of us to kindly mute our speaker mute our microphone if we are not the one making the speech. Thank you. Mr. Abdulmalik Aminu, you have the floor, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Good afternoon to gentlemen on the floor. My name is Abdul Malik Aminu. I have been tasked to talk about my expectations, observations, and suggestions regarding my journey and my life here at KPPM. I would like to start by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us to this place and for giving us the strength and the intelligence and the capacity to undertake this master's graduate program. For the expectations, while I was coming here, I thought or I dreamed of coming to a world-class university and to get master's degree and also to experience a spectacular journey, because this will be the first time that I will be leaving Nigeria to come to a foreign country. So, and so far, at the end, I can say that all my expectations has been fulfilled, like almost all of them. I have received the master's degree. I have interacted with wonderful people. I have learned a lot regarding the academia, regarding life, regarding social interactions and other things. And I would like to say that KPPM is a large multicultural environment which nurtured the growth of its students and workers. And also the NCUPM efforts has been wonderful. If I can talk about the Jalsa, the weekly Jalsa, the Arabic classes that occur in the weekends, the Ramadan Tafsir, the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, the kind of people that we have here, they are very nice, very good people. They take care of each other, and that is a very nice experience to have here outside Nigeria. And regarding my academic journey, I have learned a lot in this environment. I have been associated in high tech, in high quality researches. I have learned a lot about softwares, applications, and others. So at this juncture, I would like to appreciate KPPM for giving us this opportunity to do our master's degree here and possibly even PhD. And also I would like to commend the effort of the NCUPM by the coordinators, Dr. Adam, Tajuddin, and others, for their hard work, for their guidance, for their sacrifices in making this community and keeping it off and running it. That is a very, very commendable effort. Thank you all for being here with us. Thank you all for influencing our life in such a wonderful and meaningful way. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan, Mr. Abdulmalik Aminu. So thank you for the wonderful speech. We move on to Mr. Muhammad Tajuddin Abdullah, aka Showore. If you're available, kindly Go ahead, you have the floor.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pray that may the peace and blessing of Allah continue to be on our beloved.
Since your mic, Mr. Abdullah, is having problem, we cannot hear you.
I give thanks to Almighty Allah.
Better, thank you.
Okay. And I pray that may the peace and blessings of Allah continue to be on our beloved prophet. It is vital that before I go straight into the topic before me, I would like to recognize, make my submission first by recognizing some brothers that circumstances could not allow them to proceed thus far with us. And I want to say Alhamdulillah on their behalf, because I believe wherever they are now, they are doing greater, they are doing better. And I pray may Allah bless them. So far, so good. The news I heard so far were like some of them are in US, in UK, and are doing a lot of good stuff there. I pray may Allah bless and guide them. And to you and I that are here, I think it is a privilege given to us by Allah to be able to swim the tide. I want to say Alhamdulillah to that for those that are able to accomplish the masters and the PhD. And I pray may Allah abracate our master's degree or PhD degree, irrespective of what you have gotten, and also guide our next step. Now, on what I have before me, which is the expectation, just as we know, before every youth in Nigeria, the concept of greener pasture brings happiness. Now, when you're not actually sure that yes, the greener pasture has come your way, you can imagine the quantity of happiness one will have. Such is what before me when I was walking the street of Kaduna State. I was walking when I received the email that the opportunity has come for me to be a part of this great institution. I want to tell you, my brothers, I have to go for a sujood at that point in time because I was so happy. I wasn't expecting it. Now, moving forward, as this opportunity has come, after getting that mail, my hope or expectation was that this is an institution where there won't be any difference between the academic structure of the institution and that of Nigerian. So I always believe that it will always be a piece of cake, not knowing that it's going to be more of a tough journey as we arrive. So Alhamdulillah, so far for where that we are today. So these are my expectations. Number one, expecting that the academic situations would be similar to Nigeria, but so we thank God for what we found so far and our ability to survive the tax that the environment presented to us. So now, as the expectation goes, what I now met here happens to be a surprise because I come to find out that the system is such a way that the students need to help themselves to grow. But unfortunately, due to not properly having the right orientation at that point in time, most of us we work independently rather than working together to achieve a collective goal at that point in time. So this happens to be a shortfall on the part of my expectation, and that really tell much because the system now pitch the student against each other. Everybody was just running to make sure he secure something better, not considering his other brother that they came together from Nigeria. No, so these are my surprises. And I must tell you that among my surprises was that I wasn't really expecting that we'll have a very coordinated Nigerian community present in the kingdom. I want to tell you that if not with them, we'll have even find it more difficult to survive the environment. Especially the social committee, the education committee, and our committee, you have done so wonderful, great for us. I remember the first ride we had from the airport to here was organized by some brother, and that really go a long way to help us. My first meal in Saudi Arabia was put together by some set of brother. I say thank you, Jazakallah Khairan, for the good effort you do for all of us because we are much like him that same time. And you take your time to make sure you stand by us at that point in time. Make us find here, home away from home. I want to say thank you for that. Now, regarding the suggestion and the way forward, first and foremost, I must emphasize the need for us to unite. The system is designed in such a way that each student can work together can come together and work together, they can share the burden and make the stress, the difficulty much lesser to conquer than when we bicker each other. So my first submission is that let's always preach. When we have new students coming into the system, so among our submissions should be that, guys, there is no need to create unnecessary competition between yourself. Rather, work together to achieve a goal. I'm happy, you are happy. That is the central thing that should be put in the mind of everybody who come into the system new. Secondly, I also want to suggest, or I would say recommend, that it is very important that this body have a database of every person that have passed through the system, be it on the site, so that it will be a reference. Because at times you might, it has a lot of opportunity and advantage, but this database should be restricted so that it is only the member, anybody who have gone through the system, that can access such. I don't have much time. I will have give more light on why this is very, very important. I also want to put forward a submission that it is important that we have gained a lot from the committee, from the community support in terms of series of programs they put together. I want to implore my other colleagues, be you want to continue here, or you want to go wherever you chooses to go in the world, please let's support this community. I remember they used to seek or request for donation, yearly donation from the student. And so far, I'm not too sure, but it seems most of us are not complying. Please, please, I want to implore that for there to be an effective, smoothly running of an organization, money, fulus is very, very important. So please, let's do all we can do within our little or meager resources to support the efforts of the community in terms of donation. And also, it is important that we institute what we call Nigerian KFUPM alumni body. It is important. This will help us to coordinate further activity. You know, at every point in time in life, we always need mentorship. You might want to, maybe you have certain tasks you want to accomplish. It is important you're able to identify with somebody who have gone through the same system you have gone through, who can understand, and you can always reach out to the person to provide a guide, in addition to other opportunity that this putting together of such a body can bear to this to the community and to whoever pass through the system. And finally, we are able to achieve much more just within this little time that we initiated a program that makes us to identify the fact that when we unite, we can have far, far more better impact. And this was given birth due to the action of the social committee. The information from the from the WhatsApp group we have, the number of people participating, informed the reason why we're able to achieve what we did recently regarding reaching out to Nigerian people. Just little amount we're able to put together, we're able to reach out to over 200 households in Nigeria. That's to tell you that when we work together as an individual, we can achieve more. So I want to implore this the community, please, going forward, to try to institutionalize this charity process, charity work, so that we can also give back to the community or to Nigerian as a nation. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much. Even though you spent a little bit of our time, but the speech was a wonderful one, and we appreciate the acknowledgement, the advice, and the proposal for moving forward. Thank you very much. We say Jazakumullahu khairan. So we move to the next item on the list, which is we are going to be inviting our first speaker. Our first speaker is our first speaker, Galaxy A6. So sorry for that. We are going to be introducing our first speaker, which is in person of Dr. Muhammad Al-Haji Muhammad, which is currently an assistant professor at the Architectural Engineering Department of KFUPM. So before his speech, he's also having a poll we want us to give an answer to. like just a single question poll, and we will encourage every one of us to check our screen and respond to the poll that we have on the screen now. Thank you. Okay, 1 minute, we have the end of the poll. I will share the results with also for the speaker also, and you can have an idea of, we have 70% of our participants have participated in this poll. So, Mr. Speaker, Dr. Muhammad Alaji Mohammed, please, you can go ahead, you have the floor now. Thank you very much.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على نبي الكريم نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله once again, brothers.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Eid Mubarak to everyone in the house. Before I start, I want to congratulate all brothers that have completed their studies. Congratulations to you all. The topic I was given to handle is life after KAPPM, academic pursuant. Without wasting much of your time, I will go directly into the topic of discussion. Life after KAPPM is divided into two: academic pursuant and at the same time work. Today, I will talk about the academic pursuant. An academic pursuant also is for Nigerians. We usually go out and study in other countries, not in our own countries, because of the level of education or decadence of level of education in our own country. So when we are going out to study in overseas, we are looking for one or two things. Some people are looking just for a PhD or master's, while others are looking for both PhD and a passport, because there is a bureaucracy internationally that when you travel with some passport to other countries, you might maybe getting a higher payment and some other opportunities and advantages. So that is why we have a lot of opportunities for PhD today in the world. Many countries do offer a lot of PhD for free. I will start with the Scandinavian countries. Scandinavian countries are countries such as Finland, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, Holland, or Netherlands. These countries, most of them actually, they don't charge tuition fees, but they only sometimes charge for accommodation and other living expenses. But the tuition fee is free in those Scandinavian countries. That is why if somebody wants to pursue his PhD, Scandinavian countries are better options actually, because they have a deeply rooted academic and research environment, which are sometimes far much better than that is obtainable in the United States, Canada, and Australia. Their PhD is 4 years with coursework and at the same time research. Other opportunities, especially for those that want a PhD and a passport, is to go to countries such as Canada and Australia. In Canada and Australia, one can be able to obtain a passport within the period of the PhD plus just 1 to 2 years, depending on how much time the person has taken for his PhD. Uh, if one spent 5 years in Canada or Australia, he is eligible to get the passport. So as it has been shown in the outcome of the poll, most of our brothers want to join us within the kingdom. So it is better then for them to check countries such as Canada and Australia for their PhD, because they can be able to get the PhD and at the same time obtain a passport so that they can be paid better within the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is actually a bureaucracy that is being played within the kingdom. If you come with a passport of a Western country or developed countries like USA, Canada, United States, or other European countries, you will be paid higher than your colleagues that come from other third world countries like that of ours, Nigeria. There are also some other countries that you can be able to get a PhD, but their own time for getting the passport is a little bit longer. These countries are like United States, the UK, uh, Korea, and Singapore, and so on. So one can also look at this. Generally, one can also go for Germany, France, China, and Hong Kong are also another destination for PhD, because what we are looking at is the opportunity. Because today, PhD is very difficult to sponsor. One cannot be able to sponsor his PhD personally because it's very, very expensive. That is why the first thing that we are looking for when we want to pursue our PhD is to check for scholarship, placement opportunities. So the reason why I selected these countries that I have just mentioned is because they have these opportunities. For example, most PhDs in Canada are paid by multinationals, companies, industries, and so on. So also in Australia, United States, and the UK. So they have the opportunities, they have some openings, but one needs to plan, one needs to organize himself, because without better planning, we cannot be able to achieve our goals. We need to pray. Planning, actually, we need to start right from our PhD period, especially when we finish our coursework, when we have our transcript, then it is the right time to start looking for where to do our PhDs. We have to check the universities. We have to check their QS rankings. We have to check some professors in that university. We have to check areas of specializations in these universities. We have to check opportunities for scholarships in these universities. We have to check all lot of things that are very relevant to the portions of our goals, which is the PhD. So we need to plan ourselves. We need to check ourselves. We need to know what we want. We need to know what country we want. We need to know what type of PhD we want. Because since most of you said you want to come back to the kingdom to work, then you need to get a PhD from the West, even though nowadays even PhDs from other countries that are not developed countries are also recognized in the kingdom. But to be in the safer side, we need to prioritize we need to prioritize the Western country in the first priority, then the second priority to be some other countries, then doing our PhD within the KAPPM or the kingdom of Saudi Arabia should be our final or the last priority, because even themselves sometimes it will take a lot of issues for them to employ their graduates. So these are very, very important for us to pursue our PhD. For our brothers that still doing their PhD and have now joined these discussions, please, if you have finished your coursework and you have started your research and you know your direction, you have found out your methodology, and you are in the good track to finish, then you need now to think over how how to get your masters, those that are on masters, how to get your PhD. You need to check the website of these universities. You need to check the rankings of these universities, especially the QS ranking. You need to check especially the subject rankings. Sometimes some universities are very good in the overall ranking or generic ranking, but their individual subject ranking is different. So check your subject ranking and see if the ranking is high. Then check for a professors or faculty members that have similar research interests with that of yours. Send them an email. Send them an email. Prepare a very good CV, curriculum vitae, or resume, as we call it. Prepare a very good CV. Send it to them. Tell them that you have finished your masters in so university with so ZGPA with so area of specialization, and this is what you want to do, and you are looking for a placement to pursue your PhD. So if you contact, because looking for a PhD actually requires commitment. You need to be committed. You need to give a lot of time, a lot of energy, and so on. So if you contacted this university, and the faculty members, I'm sure within a couple of contacts you will get some responses and so on. So I advise my brothers to check this university, put their effort, and know their plans. Make a decision very fast. If your plan is for PhD, look for countries that have the PhD, even if their passport, to obtaining passport from these countries is not difficult. Just go for your PhD. If your aim or your objective is to get both the PhD and at the same time the passport, then you need to look for the countries that will give uh, passport on time, because PhDs nowadays is just 3 to 4 years. So after you finish your PhD, you want to come back to the kingdom to work. So if you add 1 more year, maybe after your 4 years, then you are entitled for your passport. Then you will come with your passport and you will get better recognition than the Nigerian passport that we are holding. The time that I was given actually is off, so I will now stop here. If you have any question, I will be available to answer your question. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you very much for the wonderful advice. We appreciate you and we say Jazakumullah khairan to you. May the Almighty Allah bless you abundantly. For our participants, if you're having any question, please type your question in the chat room. We have the moderators in the chat room to look at the questions, and during the time for the questions and answer, we will ask the speakers the questions during the time for the questions and answers. So please feel free to use the chat room, put in your questions there, and we will select the questions and ask. So we move on to the next item on the agenda. So the next item we have on the agenda now is actually like a gift for the participants. So let's get ready. It's actually, we are going to be having some recharge card being displayed on the screen, and we hope all of us participate as fast as you can. Anyone that can be able to load the recharge card. Presently, we are starting with the STC from Saudi Arabia and MTN from Nigeria. As we move on into the program, other networks will display other networks too as we move on. So this is it. It will be displayed for exactly roughly 1 minute. And if you have the recharge card, please feel free to let us know in the chat room that you already have the recharge card, so that the so that the other participants can know that they don't need to try it again. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, we have someone for the MTN. One of the MTN is done. So please let us know in the chat room if you have the recharge card already. Mr. Ismail already has the MTN. You have the STC. One STC is gone, so we are left with one STC. Oh, both MTN. So now one more STC. Yeah, we move on to the program. Okay. I think that's all. We have our winners already. No need for anyone. We wish you better luck in the next time in case you are not part of those that have been able to win this. Hopefully, as the program goes on, we have other networks that will be displayed. So please be ready for it. So we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our second speaker, Dr. Abdurrahuf Adebayo of the College of Petroleum and Geoscience in KFUPM will be speaking to us on the topic Life After KFUPM, Opportunities Within and Abroad. Dr. Rahuf, if you are available, kindly go ahead with the speed. You have the floor. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with the graduates, and I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate all the graduating students and those that are leaving us for good. So I wish you success in all your future endeavors. So without wasting much of our time, I will just go straight to the topic before me. So actually the topics are related, and most of the points I have been covered, but I still have some left that I would like to discuss with everyone. So I would like to start with the poll that was shared earlier before the first speaker. But so what is your plan after you graduate, after leaving KFUPM? And the answers were good, but the last answer, which I didn't expect anybody to say, is that you are not decided. You have not decided. Well, I believe, of course, some of us have problem of indecision, not making decision on time. But this happens also when as a result of some circumstances around you. Probably you have not finished your coursework yet. Or, I mean, well, these are graduating students, so I believe you should have finished and decided by now. But in any case, that should not be the situation. You should have decided by now if you are graduating, so you should know what to do. So I think the best answer from my own point of view is those that selected that whichever comes first. So on this note, I think I will start my discussion on this, that just like Dr. Adams said in his opening speech, whatever you get first, take it. They say there's this saying that a bird in hand is better than thousands in the bush. So whatever you get, take it, and after that you can look at other opportunities. So the world today is becoming more competitive day by day. So don't lose any opportunity that comes your way. You may never get another one. So it's better you get whatever comes your way. If it is job you get first, please take it. If it's further studies that you get first, admission for your PhD or postdoc, take it. So the discussion is opportunities within and abroad after KFPM. So I believe I'm addressing both MS holders and PhD holders. So I will start with the MSc holders. Just like Dr. Mohammed said, Alaji, the first thing that should come to your mind is to get a PhD after your MSc. So which you can do, I mean, in KFPM. KFPM is a world-class university, but it's preferable to get somewhere else if you can. If you finish your master's from here, it's good to diversify your source of degree. So Europe, US, Asia, these are good places, and I just spoke about other places that are good for PhD, particularly for those that are planning to come back and join KFPM or join any other institution within the Gulf countries. In the past, about let's say 10 years ago, about 7 to 10 years ago, getting a job is not as competitive as we have today, because more people are getting higher education, higher degrees. So you are in for a tough competition, even when you get your PhD from, let's say, the best universities in the world. So what will give you an edge is what defines you. Many people get PhD from the best universities in the world, but it's actually what makes you unique, that gives you an edge over others. It's not the university that you graduated from. It's the quality you develop, the skills you develop for yourself. So part of the opportunities is when you go abroad, you can come back to the kingdom to get an assistant professor, professorship position, or a research faculty position in any of the universities within the kingdom or within the Gulf states, Gulf countries. It's not necessarily KFPM. It doesn't have to be KFPM. It can be other Gulf countries, or even in Nigeria. You can get very good offer in Nigeria. And after all, we should have in mind that we'll go back to our country one day to give back to our country. Then if you don't want to go for a PhD, you can also think of getting a job here within the kingdom. So you can get a job for example, we have brothers that secured lecturership job in KFPM or outside KFPM. Others also got some administrative job within KFPM and outside. Some also got some lab engineering job in the departments or the research institutes. Or you can also look outside KFPM. We have people that are working outside KFPM. But well, like I said, these are it's easier for those that already have the working visa. If you don't have a working visa, it becomes a bit challenging. But that does not mean it's not possible. We also have people that actually secured job and went back to Nigeria to get their visas. So if you don't want to go for PhD should be my first recommendation. But if you want to get some money, you want to work and get some skills or maybe money first, then you can actually secure a job here. Then you can think about your PhD while doing on the job, while doing the job. So we have people that are also that took this that explore this option. if you're not getting a job in KFUPM or in the kingdom, and you're not going for a PhD abroad or in the kingdom, that means you want to go back to Nigeria, which is also a possibility for those that don't have any. Think of, I believe another speaker is going to talk about this. Dr. Teslim is going to talk about this after me, I believe. So think about other opportunities that you can get out there. But before you go, your presence here, the opportunity you have here should not be wasted. If you're going back to Nigeria, get some things with you that will give you an edge over people there. The certificate you have in KFUPM is an edge, of course. There are other experience you have, like you learn some skills, basic skills. You learn how to operate some research facilities, expensive research facilities, and I'm not sure if all the universities in Nigeria have it. But this can be some edges that you have that will sell you, that will give you value when you go back to Nigeria. So even if you're not getting a job, you're not going for a PhD, I think your ability to acquire these skills will give you a very good edge when you go back to Nigeria. But I will also advise, if you go back to Nigeria, don't stop there. Try to get a PhD. PhD is very important. More people are going for PhD. So I don't think it's a good advice to stop at master's level. If you have the opportunity to go for a PhD, please don't waste time on that, because the direction we're going now is the market is very competitive. Let's be frank, it's very competitive. We have a lot of PhDs out there looking for jobs. So if you have a master's, you know that your opportunity might be slimmer. Then for the PhD holders, just like it was mentioned by the previous speaker, the opportunity you have is to get a postdoc at KFUPM. In the past, it's easier to get a job without having a postdoc in the kingdom, in KFUPM, for example. But now the policy is that if you have a PhD, you must go through postdoc before you can get a job. And in fact, some centers don't even give jobs to KFUPM graduates. They prefer them to go out and get more experience, exposure, and come back and get a job. But there are always exceptions. Some people still get a job. Yeah. So think of, after a PhD, think of your postdoc. So you can look at KFUPM. There are many departments in KFUPM or research centers where you can get a job. And if you don't want to do it in the kingdom, you can go outside the kingdom, Europe, US, other Gulf countries. And in doing that, make sure you polish your research portfolio. Have a good story to tell about yourself. It's not enough getting a PhD or getting a certificate. When you begin to look for positions for a postdoc, then you have to have a very strong CV, and your research area must be well focused. You shouldn't have a generalized research area. So, and you target institutions or research centers that have research areas that align to with your own research area. So you should have a very good research plan after a PhD. Just graduating from a PhD, you should have some ideas of how you want to continue your work. So these are the questions that you'll be asked during your postdoc interview. When you're called for interview for any postdoc position, you'll be asked about what are your research plans or research objectives, and some professors have research areas they want to work on, of course. Okay, so also try to get some soft skills, like the use of expensive or sophisticated research facilities, and also like the MATLAB program and Python. These are the things that will sell you for opportunities. Then, of course, you can get job outside KPPM even with your PhD. You don't have to go for a postdoc. Some universities, local universities, give assistant professorship position. Then there are companies in the DTVC, in the Rand Techno Valley, that also hire graduates from KFUPM. So you need to do some kind of networking, and you can have the help of your advisors or your department chair to connect with the right people in the Rand Techno Valley. Then think about jobs in Nigeria also as a PhD. Think about going back to Nigeria and giving back to our country. And you can look for jobs in other places as well. So I have just a few seconds left. So to cap it up, I would like to give a general advice to everyone, all of the graduates. Do not waste your achievements at KPPM. The opportunity to have your degree here is a great opportunity which many people don't have. So don't waste it. Try to get going. Keep up the struggle. Don't finish your master's or PhD and just go and sit down in Nigeria and you don't move to the next level. And don't waste your time in that. So it's either you get a job or you go for a higher degree. So and try to impact on others what you have learned from here. We've learned so many things in the kingdom, the moral values we have here, the academic experience we have, and there's so many skills you have. If you're going back to Nigeria, please try to show them how things are done. It's a life opportunity that you had, and let others benefit from you. So I wish you success in your future endeavor. Thank you all for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Abdurrahuf. Thank you for the wonderful speech and very good advice. We hope the graduates are listening, and we also pray, may Allah assist every one of them to make the right decision. Thank you very much. So we have our next item on the agenda is our next speaker, Dr. Said Adekunle, should be getting ready. But before then, he also has we have a poll that we wish for every one of us to participate in. Let me also remind us, if you have any question, please make use of the chat room. You can always type your question in the chat room, and you can be rest assured that it will be delivered to the right person to answer the question. So I'm launching the poll now for every one of us to participate. It's going to also assist our speaker to talk about some things based on the result of the poll. So we can answer the poll now. We have 45 seconds for that. Thank you. Okay. We have 75% of the attendants already participated in the poll. So we will be ending it here, and we share the results, some very funny results, as we can see. So we move ahead while we are looking at the results of the poll. We move ahead to the next item on the agenda, I will invite Malam Isa to please introduce our next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nas. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. The next speaker is in the person of Dr. Saeed Adekunle, who is an assistant professor in the civil engineering department. He holds both a master's degree and a PhD from KFUPM here. And just like the topic, we needed someone who will very much do justice to it: information technology, social media, and fake news. He is an expert programmer and a specialist in debunking fake news and hoaxes using computer programs. Kindly welcome Dr. Saeed Adekunle as he take over the presentation. Thank you. So Dr. Saeed, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum
Wa alaikum
salam.
salam wa rahmatullahi.
Can you possibly allow me to share my screen?
Yes, you can.
No,
Okay,
the screen sharing is disabled.
yes,
Okay.
the admin. So you can grant him the control for now.
Okay. Okay, let me stop sharing my own screen, then you'll be able to share yours.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Can you share it now?
Still saying the same thing.
You need to
Disabled.
grant him admin control. The host. You need to make him the host.
Okay, okay, I did that now. Okay. Can you share now?
Yes, I can share now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
I'm happy to speak on the topic given to me today. This is information technology, social media, and misinformation. My name, as was introduced, is Saeed Adekunle, Assistant Professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at KFUPM. First of all, let's go through the background. Internet is the engine of social media. Internet began to become popular starting from 1995, and it has gradually been increasing its penetration worldwide, as you can see by the red dotted line. Somehow around 2004, in the Nigerian space specifically, the internet penetration began to move until around 2016, when it actually accelerated more. And today, Nigerian internet penetration is about 62%. The meaning of this is that about 62% of the population of Nigeria uses the internet. And by coincidence, this is slightly above the current global average penetration. So it means we have a space which can accommodate the use of internet, specifically for the use of social media. And this is a good time to speak about the ups and downs of social media. Social media are defined in one definition as interactive computer-mediated technologies, which facilitate the creation, sharing of information, sharing of ideas, career interest, and every other forms of expression through virtual communities and networks. This is one of definitions. This is not all encompassing definition, definitely, but it's one of the definitions that I feel has good substance. All right. So now, based on this background, it's a good idea to look at social medias or social networks in operation. On the screen, as you can see, we have the most popular social media. Most of them are from the US, as you can see. Facebook is the biggest social media with currently it has 2.5 billion active users worldwide, and it's based in US. As you can see, the blue bars, they're mostly from the US, but a good number are from China as well. And one of the most popular is Viber, which is from Israel. This is just to give us some good statistics, just to let us know how widespread the social media is. One of the social media we can see on this list is the LinkedIn. The LinkedIn is a professional social media, which I believe most of us, if not all, should be familiar with because it offers enormous benefit for us professionals. All right, now from there, we like to talk about the pros and cons of social media. So I start with the advantages of social media. First of all, as we know, it offers global connectivity for us. Some lost friend can easily be found on the social media, and it's always easy to make new friends. Of course, you can also make new friends that will be opposite of friends in their effects. Also, the connectivity globally that we have also allows us to seek jobs in any corner of the world. Also, we can locate assistance for anything we want, including begging for money, which some people actually do on social media, unfortunately. But there are better use of social media when it comes to locating assistance, as we'll see in the next slide. Also, for those who are engaged in product and services delivery, getting referrals is very easy when it comes to using social media. As well, it's easy to advertise your product and services for free, and you can easily get very good results. And if you want to go higher, you can actually pay, but the cost of using social media to advertise is much cheaper and probably more effective than every other means. And as we can see, this is a lot of benefit of social media. And secondly, social media allows real-time information sharing. It's possible or it's easy in real time to exchange information through text chats, and through voice chat and video chats. Also, social media offer great discussion features, which allows teams, maybe project teams or teams working on some common interests. It's easy to discuss without being at the same physical location. And also it's good for teachers and instructors and trainers to teach anywhere from anywhere. And finally, on my list here, as one of the information sharing benefit of the social media, is the increased speed of news cycle. So news spread like wildfire in no time. This is called viral news. So things go viral within the twinkle of an eye. This is a very good benefit on one hand, and on the other hand, it's a big problem because not all news are really worth it. As a matter of fact, some news items are actually very harmful. And if something harmful spread very quickly, we know this is a big disadvantage of social media. So now once we have highlighted the good things about social media, I think it's good to highlight some bad part of social media. So now I want to speak about, before that, I'm sorry, let me talk about one case study of the pros of social media. On January 6, precisely 2010, around 10 years plus ago, the founder of Uber, this is Travis Kalanick, made a tweet. And you'll be surprised that Uber was started using a tweet. He had a tweet on Twitter, of course, and Ryan Graves, the CEO, just made a response. And from the response of Ryan Graves, they founded Uber on a very solid foundation. And Uber continued to grow exponentially. And recently, 10 years after, Uber was valued at $70 billion. What I'm trying to emphasize here is that this big company that grew to this much in only 10 years span of time actually began on Twitter. So this is just one case study. There are thousands of case studies of positive outcomes of the use of social media. And so from there, we can easily move to the cons of social media, and the disadvantages of using social media. Among many disadvantages, there is this what I call connect to disconnect. And as we said earlier, social media allows you to connect to people virtually all over the world. But unfortunately, more often than not, it gets you disconnected from the physical world. And then you become less of a human, unfortunately. So this is one major disadvantage of the social media, which we have to understand and see how we can minimize its impact on us as we use the social media. And secondly, it's a commonly known fact that social media is a potent source of distraction. Distraction from work, distraction from your studies, distraction from your worship, and distraction from relationships. So this, we have to be very careful about this effect. Once we know of something, it's easy to work against it. One more I want to add is that social media are potent sources of endemic addiction. Some people actually sit on social media for long times, destroying their lives, destroying their futures. And for them, they have been so much addicted to social media that they need basically serious help to get out of the jinx. Also, social media encourages, in quotes, people portraying skewed images of themselves. It's easy to show that, wow, this guy is so rich. You have a feeling he's so rich based on what he portrays of himself. But the reality is that he's showing you one of the best moments of his life. His life is not what he's showing actually. But this is the evil of social media. And also for us, the professionals or the academics, it's easy to see someone else and say, oh, wow, this guy is a great scientist, man. You feel sad, you feel depressed. But the reality is that what is showing is a lot more than what is really worth. So this is one basic problem with social media. It encourages projection of false image. And also, based on the first point we mentioned, it actually diminishes or diminishes physical communication skills. After so much of social media use, you become again less of a human, and your actual physical communication or interaction skills is a lot reduced. Now, we are saying all of this so that we can understand the evils of social media along with the benefit, so that we can actually work against those evils and we can actually maximize the benefits. And one last thing I want to mention as the cons of social media is easy misinformation. Misinformation or spreading lies, hoaxes, fake news. Okay, so this is one of the major problems of social media, which will basically form the basis for our next aspect of this talk. Now, allow me to go properly into misinformation, or what I call hoaxes and fake news. And this is probably the biggest demerit of social media use. Now, why do we have hoaxes making so much of havoc in our lives in recent times? Studies have shown that humans are actually getting less smart. We're actually getting dumber according to findings in studies. And one genetic expert actually believed, based on his finding, that the human intelligence peaked only between 2,000 and 6,000 years ago. After 2,000 years ago, human intelligence have been going down and down. So this is the reason why it's easy for someone to just release one nonsense and anybody can take it and go with it. Sometimes in 2019, there was one organized symposium by BBC World Service featuring Professor Wole Soyinka and Yemi Osibajo. they concluded from that symposium that fake news are deliberate and destructive attempts by unscrupulous elements, and it's most likely to be the cause of World War III. And they believe it will be the Nigerians that will initiate that. They were basically lamenting the speed at which Nigerians spread fake information. And Professor Wole Soyinka believes that those who create and spread fake news are sick. They are sick people and they are cowards because they lack the conviction of their own beliefs, so they transfer this to others. Okay? So this is how they describe fake news in our local space in Nigeria. I just want to bring to you, before I conclude my speech, some interesting case studies. First case study I want to show here is this information here. Sometimes people release this fake information to cause problems, sometimes to cause wars and cause misunderstandings. You can see here that someone is basically claiming that Lord Macaulay made this address. And as you can see here, look at the second line, you will see Africa here, okay? But the same information can be found on the same internet, where the word Africa has been replaced by India at the same location. That actually shows that neither of the two is likely to be correct. The entire thing is all about hoax, false information. So we need to be very careful and smart. And finally, I will show you this case study, which I call a pathetic case study. I'm not showing you this case study to ridicule any personality, but to highlight the fact that anybody can be a victim, regardless of how smart or enlightened you may be, in quote. So let us listen to this case study here briefly.
This disturbing information came from the Nation's newspaper on Tuesday, November 27, 2018. Written by one Olatunji Dare, exploded with authoritative assertion that President Buhari had died in the UK in 2017, where he was undergoing medical treatment. That the entrenched cabal in Aso Rock had procured Buhari double in Sudan and pressed him into service as Nigeria's president. That representative of the Jubril family, that is the impostor, having discovered the gigantic swindle, suddenly showed up in Abuja the other day and demanded to be compensated with a power-sharing arrangement at the federal level in perpetuity, plus 50% of Nigeria's oil revenues for 10 years in the first instance. That, and I quote, failing this, they would tell their story to the whole world. He further stated that the Nigerian authorities have entered into frantic negotiations with Jubri's family to head off what is sure to be the world's dirtiest and worst kept secret. So far, to my knowledge, no official statement has refuted this claim, which simply implies Nigeria may truly be up for sale. As Nigeria now suddenly become a population of fools, if this evil tide is not dealt with quickly and decisively, Nigeria may be about to be recolonized the second time, and this time by another African country. But the word authoritative that the writer wrote was what caught my attention. If the president would not address the nation on a subject as sensitive as this, it must have been proved beyond any iota of doubt that maybe he's not our president. Somebody is supposed to have grown. It's really, yeah, sure I know. On this note, we are going to rise and pray. Stand to your feet. Deliver Nigeria from slavery.
I'm sorry for that, for taking extra time. This is something very crucial. So eventually, our elderly, respected father became a laughing stock after this event. Again, I'm not trying to ridicule any personality. He's a well-respected elder. But again, to emphasize the fact that anybody can become a victim of fake news. So we have to be very very careful about the way we handle fake news we get from social media. All right, so finally, I want to just show us some survival strategies. I don't have the time. There's a formula or there's a rule 95, 5, 70, 30. No time to explain that. Also, you have to verify information you get. This is encouraged from Quran. Now, whenever you receive information from people, try to verify, because if you don't verify, you will end up becoming a laughing stock. I'm sorry, the Quran does not say that, but the Quran says you will end up hurting people, and then you regret what you have done. Okay, so finally, use your mind, be very smart, be wise, and refrain from the annoying trend. People are anxious to break the news. They want to be the first. So when you want to be the first to break the news, tendency is there to spread false information. And also verify before you spread anything. If you don't verify, don't worry to spread. By default, just say no lie. Anything you see from the social media, not from the government and not from reputable news outlets, you just find on WhatsApp, just tell yourself no lie. It's lie by default. But if you're able to verify, then it's fine. Otherwise, no lie, okay? So, and finally, use some smart tools. Some smart tools are there. These are going to be for another day. There's reverse image search. There is the YouTube data viewer. Many things are there which we can cover some other times. And finally, I want to tell you to be wise. If you're not wise, social media can actually create ruins in our lives. So we pray to God to help us against the evils of social media. And I'd like to thank you for listening to my presentation, and I welcome your questions, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the enlightening presentation. Kindly be reminded that if you have any question regarding all the presentations that have been made so far, you could just kindly leave your questions in the chat box and we'll address them appropriately. So I'd also like to request Dr. Saheed, kindly make the NCUPM Social Committee the host now, so we can actually take over from there.
Okay, I will do that, please. NCUPM, let me see, please, participants. Okay, I can see. All right, I've done that. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Nas.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. I'm sure every one of us is taking one or two things from that. May Allah continue to guide you, and may Allah also guide every one of us and protect us against the fake news, hoax, and all sort of misinformation. So we encourage our participants just to inform you again that if you have any question, feel free to put your question in the chat room, and feel free, the speakers will be available here to answer all the questions when we get to that part of the program. So let's make use of the chat room for our questions. So move on to the next item on the agenda, which will be another speech by some selected graduates, and we have 3 of them on standby. We are going to be starting with Mr. Oludayo Shokunbi. I hope if you are available now, you have the floor now. You can go ahead, Mr. Dayo.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Yes, good to be here. And then, well, I was given a speech to talk about the expectation, observation, and suggestions. Because of time, I'm going to just skip the one that has been discussed before, and then look at the one that I've not written here. Okay. Yeah, for the observation, okay, let me start from expectations. For the expectation, I expected that the school would be a mixed school, actually, because we are not told that it's actually mainly boys' school. And so when we got here, we were a little bit, skeptical about it. So number 2 is that I also learned one of my expectations also is to meet different people with different mindset and experience and political affiliations, and then to never judge anyone, and then my expectations were met. For the observation, I observed that people are generally nice, and that has been discussed before, so let me skip. Another one is that because I'm a Christian, so I will need to emphasize this point. I guess that's why I'm giving this opportunity. I also observed that the way religion is being treated here is inclusive. I mean, nobody is being ridiculed, and nobody is being exempted from anything. I can say with all my heart and mind that I have not been treated with any biases so far, and I've not been given. I've also enjoyed every opportunity that everyone has enjoyed, and also my fellow Christians that are in the kingdom. And I want to thank the Nigerian community for this wonderful opportunity. Also, for the suggestions, let me quickly say this. Mr. Achori mentioned something about that before, but let me just add to it. I feel that there should be KFUPM student constituted leaders. Let me explain that. For example, we have, let me give us two scenarios that made me think of it. Number one was when we have the new president, and then the president wanted to talk to the Nigerian community, and so we had to, discuss on WhatsApp, and then for somebody to represent us. So I feel that if we have a KFUPM student constituted leaders, I mean, those leaders can be under Nigerian community as a whole, such that whenever we have issues like academics, we know who to meet. Whenever we have issues like the visa processing and issues like that, we know exactly who to meet. And then whenever we have issues concerning sports, we know exactly who to meet. The committee has been doing very well, but the committee is Nigerian community. We will need KFUPM leaders who have, all of them will have their portfolio, and then their list can be collated such that it can be updated for people who are still coming, such that if anyone comes, we know exactly who to call whenever we need support. Another issue that happened is this traveling home. I discovered that some guys have taken it upon themselves to contact the Nigerian embassy and the school themselves before involving us. So I believe that if we have someone who is in that line that can, we can tell, the person can take it up to the Nigerian community leaders, and then we'll know what to do. So these are part of my my suggestion. Also, I will also say that not compulsory. I learned that there's nothing compulsory in the kingdom, which is very good. But for the outgoing student, it's good that we find a way of donating back or giving back to the community for what the community have done for us. Personally, I've enjoyed so many things from different people who don't know me from anywhere, and I also encourage all of us to do that. And the next one is the recreation activities. Recreation activities, especially football and other things, is the only thing that brings all of us together, because all of us have a lot of personal ideas to ourselves, a lot of idiosyncrasies about how we think about things. But when we come together, I discovered that especially when we play football, we leave aside all of those things, and then we're able to come together. So I want to thank the Nigerian community for starting it, and I want to encourage us to keep doing it so that all of us can come together. We can do more recreation activities, we can go out, and then and the football too can be more organized. The last thing I'm going to say is for the orientation for the new students. To be honest with you, the orientation that was given us when we came, I can remember January 2008, was very good, but it was filled with a lot of fear, and it affected a lot of us, especially me. We discovered that most of those things were true, but some of those things were not necessarily true. What I mean is this, that some of those things we discovered them ourselves. We discovered that some of them are not necessarily the way they are. I discovered something in this school personally, that there is no strict way of handling things. There is always an exception somewhere, somehow, anywhere, if you find a way of asking. So I just feel that the orientation committee should just find a way of giving us general information instead of giving us specific information that will bring fear in us. And I want to commend them for the very nice orientation. Let me end by this from Albert Einstein. It says, "Only a life lived in the service to others is worth living." Thank you, Nigerian community, for what you have done for us. We pray that may God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shokunbi. May the Almighty continue to be with you. Mr. Ridwan Adisoye is joining us from the United States. If you are available, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm delighted and honored to give a short talk on my expectations before joining KFUPM, my observation during the course of my program, and possibly my suggestions. So I would like to go straight to the point because of time. To be honest, I had so many expectations, some of which have been mentioned by the previous speakers. However, I would like to mention but a few. The first is that I actually thought coming to a renowned university like NCUPM, I thought I would have the opportunity and time to engage in high quality research. Though I realized I was overwhelmed by the coursework, which left me with little or no time for quality research until towards the end of my program. So that was one of the things I actually observed. So I felt there were too many courses for me to do, which I actually did most of these courses until the last semester, or second to the last semester. Yeah, the second thing I actually thought about before joining KFUPM was the fact that coming to an Islamic nation, I felt I'll be able to improve on my Islamic knowledge. And Alhamdulillah, the kind of community I met on ground, Nigerian community, they tried their best on this. May Allah reward our brothers abundantly. But it was difficult for an average student like me to kind of combine both, though I tried towards the end of my program, but it was a bit late by then. Yeah, so the third expectation I had was about, though this one is kind of specific, and but I actually thought the system would be flexible. What do I mean by this? Like, it will allow people coming from different backgrounds, for instance, somebody like me who came from science, I can actually engage in higher educations, in possibly like a field like engineering, without any discriminations. But I realized what I observed was that it was not always the case. Taking myself as an instance, I actually thought I would be able to upgrade my master's program to PhD because I had a master's before coming to KFUP, but I was denied that because one of the reasons was because of my background in physics. About my observations, I wanted to also talk about the the Nigerian community, but I know most of my colleagues have actually said so much about it. Yeah, so as a concluding remark, I would like to give the following suggestions. Though some may be directed to KFUPM, but I believe we have members of the community here who happens one way or the other to be in position of authority. So the first suggestion I would like to give is if KFUPM can reduce the number of courses, I think that will allow people to have more time for research, especially PhD students. And again, if they can make the system more flexible, I think that would also be a great thing to do. Then regarding the Nigerian community, I think I would like to suggest that more programs should be organized, which will focus on making possibly positive change to our dear country, Nigeria. I was happy to, I think there was a social programs that was organized by the community. I was really happy when I saw that. So I would be glad if we can have more programs like that in future. One of the best things that happened to me at KFUPM was mingling with my brothers. We were not related by blood, but the way they kind of treated us and the way we treated each other, it was really good, and I can never forget that experience. So I would like to end by saying Jazakumullah khairan to our brothers in the community who supported us, even before the end of before the beginning of our program, to the end of our program at KFUPM. May Allah reward you with good, both in this world and the hereafter. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Ridwan Adesoye. We appreciate the fact that you are able to join us from your location over there. Thank you very much, and may Allah reward you abundantly. The next speaker here is Dr. Zubair Abubakar. If you are available now, you have the floor now for your speech. Dr. Zubair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to all of you. And a very good evening or late afternoon to you all. I would like to just start by thanking the community as a whole. It really has been a very good experience. It has fulfilled all our expectations because by nature, we human beings, we are dependent upon each other. So even before I joined here, I remember there are people that play cardinal role in easing my way down here. People like Brother Abdul Rauf, from the time I got the admission to the visa issue and the way I will come over here and so on. Dr. Suleiman, who left recently also, has helped. When I joined here also, I found a vibrant community that is organized with hierarchy and a very well organized machine. And that helped boost our morale and help along the way in achieving all our goals. The expectation before we joined here was, I was thinking maybe things will be easier. But when I joined, I found that it's a little harder than I expected. But what I've also learned is that if you just adjust, it will just be fine. So what you need is just an adjustment, and you persevere. No condition is permanent. Each condition will just come and go. And but what you will be able to tell yourself, to live with yourself after every scenario that passed, is to be able to say that I have done all I can without failure. And if you are sure you have done that, you don't have any regret in life, whatever happened to you. And Alhamdulillah, we are able to succeed in our mission. And with the help of everybody in the community, our families, and everybody with the kingdom, our teachers, faculty members, and everybody, we were able to persevere and endure and be successful, alhamdulillah. And that is why, as part of my suggestion, I would like to encourage people to continue to be brothers keepers, try to get engaged, and try to have a balanced life. You know, if you have anything to do, try to incorporate it with your life now. Try to incorporate it in your life and carry it along. If you want to be nice to loved ones, relate to others, have a balanced life. Religious, cultural, academic, and so on, entertainment-wise, and so on and so forth. Because the life you are living is now. This is your life. You read about many other people before, they have lived their life and passed. This moment, this very moment is your life. You are writing the story of your life at this moment. Do not procrastinate and think that, okay, I will postpone something to some other times. Try to carry whatever little thing you need to be doing along so that you will have a balanced life. Try to be informed, try to be educated, try to have friends, try to care for your loved ones, and so on and so forth. The second advice I will have is for those that will be going back to Nigeria, and probably even people that will be staying all over the world. What I will be thinking is that eventually people would like to go back home because all we have is our homes, actually. So try to cultivate the culture of excellence that we exhibit in diaspora. If we can translate it back to Nigeria, that will make a huge impact in back home. Really, we need some good news back home, something to cheer us up, because of you know, some of the downward trajectory of our social discourse and things like that. So, and what we all know for sure is that in diaspora, Nigerians tend to exhibit culture of excellence in their work, in their respect for one another, and so on and so forth. If you can be able to transfer that back to Nigeria, I know the incentive, like for somebody like me, I will just take 30 more seconds, please, to finalize it. Just the incentive is not much in Nigeria probably, but if you accept to do a work back home in Nigeria, ethically speaking, you are supposed to do it to the best of your abilities. So you can transfer all the excellence, the hard work, the dedication, the respect for one another you have in diaspora back to Nigeria, and we will see a positive change in Nigeria, inshallah. I thank all of the community, the leadership of the community, our brothers in mechanical engineering and so forth. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry for taking much of your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Zubair Abubakar. So we move on to the next item on the agenda now. We are running out of time. So the next item is we have our speaker from Nigeria, Dr. Taslim Ashafa. But before we move to his speech, we also have a poll we would like us to answer before that, which is a plan after graduation. Okay, plan after KFP. Okay, so please, everyone, the poll is launched now. You can, I think we have a few number of questions there. The speaker requested it from us. So we can please answer the questions in the poll. Thank you. We will give some additional time for people to fill this survey because of the number of questions there. So we hope the speaker, please bear with us, just give some additional 1 to 2 minutes, then we end the survey, then we can start. Mr. Issa, if you can hear me, please introduce the speaker while the survey is on, then you can continue.
Okay, just briefly to introduce the speaker. The speaker is by name Dr. Taslim Ashafa. Dr. Taslim is currently a reader and the current HOD of Mechanical Engineering Department in Lautech. He holds an MSc from UCL, and his PhD was jointly awarded by KFUPM and Belgium. He immediately returned to Nigeria after his PhD, and just like Ed has already said, He's the current HOD of Mechanical Engineering Department at Lautech. So he's going to be talking to us about returning to Nigeria, the opportunities that await the graduates, and what they are supposed to take into consideration if they have plans to return to Nigeria immediately after their program, as many of our graduates will be leaving very soon, if not for this pandemic we have here. So I believe Dr. Teslim can take over now and make the presentation. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Please, may I request that I share my screen just like Dr. Said did?
Okay.
Can you please?
Okay.
And I also want the result of the poll. I'm so interested in it as well.
Okay. I will share the result of the poll now. I think I just ended the poll. 60% of the participants already participated, most likely. So we have the results on the screen now.
Okay.
You can see the result on the poll. And Dr. Teslim, you can also check. I believe you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. Once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm bringing you news from Nigeria, specifically from Ogbomoso in Oyo State. And I want to respond to a brother who said he wanted good news from Nigeria. There are so many good news from Nigeria. I shall be looking at some of those good news. All right. So as I said, I will be looking at the opportunity that some of us have by returning home, especially for the graduates. And before I do that, let me commend the organizing committee for this fantastic program. This is an opportunity for some of us who are not in KVPN to participate. And I think I can see myself as the only person outside the KVPM, or maybe outside Saudi Arabia. I can see Dr. Akwalara from Afrobatin, but from KVPM. I really want to thank you for this. And I also want to congratulate all the graduates for very successful completion of their degree. I know it is not an easy journey for you to graduate from KVPM, especially at master and PhD level. You have to face a lot of coursework, very intensive research as well. You need to publish and things like that. So congratulations to you all. And I pray to Almighty Allah to give you a very rewarding job. And let me also say that I'm happy to be with you, especially hearing from some of my brothers who were together during my stay in KVPM. I was happy to hear from Dr. Alaji, Muhammad Alaji, we were together. Dr. Said Adekunle, we were together. Dr. Abraouf, we were all together, and Dr. Adam was one of the community leaders then. So it's so happy that I can still share this floor with them. Anyway, because of time, so you can see my screen. I'm looking at the returnees from two perspectives. Number one, I want to look at them from the degree they have, the degree they just completed, either master degree or PhD degree. I also want to look at them from whether they have an existing job in Nigeria before they move to KVPM or they don't. So if you have, that's yes. If you don't, that's no. If you have a master degree, that's M. If you have a PhD, that's P. So I want to go back to biology and do some kind of crossbreeding between these categories. Number one, if you have a master degree and you have a job, I call you MY. If you have a master degree and you don't have a job, that's a MN, master, no job. If you have a PhD with a job, that's PY. If you have a PhD without job, that's PhD. Now, we can actually categorize ourselves as we are listening to this conversation. We can categorize ourselves, where do we belong to, MY, MN, PY, or PN. What do I want to bring out of this? One, if you are PY, if you belong to category PY, that is PhD with job, you are so much welcome to Nigeria. Don't forget, I'm talking about returning to Nigeria for the new graduates. So if you have a PhD and you have a job at home, you are so much welcome. Sincerely yours, I can come and accost you at the airports, either in Lagos, in Abuja, or in Kano, that you are so much welcome to Nigeria. If you have your master and you have a job, or you have a PhD, you don't have a job, you are welcome. Not very welcome, you are welcome. Because of the conditions or the situation I will be explaining shortly. And finally, if you have a master and you don't have a job, my brother, you are not welcome. Let me be very sincere with us. You are not welcome. Based on the experience and based on what is going on in the country, you are not welcome. You can come, of course. You understand why I said you are not welcome, because of the situation on ground. Now I'm going to pick these categories one by one. And I will start with a master with job. I said if you have master with job, you are welcome, not very welcome. Why are you welcome? Because it gives you opportunity to keep your job, because you have a job already, especially those in the universities. Those who left one company or the other for NCUPM, well, I'm not very sure whether they can still go back to their job. But those in the university, I think they have that big opportunity to keep their job. And in such a case, the biggest opportunity for them is that they can go for sponsored PhD with paid leave. You can see I underlined 3 words there, maybe let's say just 2. Sponsored PhD, meaning that they can get scholarship, they can get fellowship, they can get, starting from like returning back to NCUPM with a sponsored PhD, or going somewhere else with scholarship, and or even taking PTDF in Nigeria. These are sponsored PhD. And not only that, you will get paid leave, meaning that you are still under training. You finish your master, you are now going for your PhD. So you are still under training. So your university or your polytechnic is obliged to give you paid leave, at least for 3 years. Like in my universities, the rule is that you get paid leave for 3 years, although it is subjected to renewal every year, but you can get it up to a maximum of 3 years. After 3 years, you are on your own. There's no paid leave again. They will give you leave without pay. But for the fact that you have a scholarship, that should be sufficient for you. And of course, your paid leave is just an additional benefit, and you can use the money for something fantastic in life. So these are the 2 main reasons why I said if you have a master and you have a master and you have a job and you return home, you are welcome, because you have these opportunities. However, in the same manner, if you have a PhD, as I said, you can have TED Fund, RA, Lecturer B, TA, and things like that. If you have a PhD, you have so much opportunity. The meaning is that you can go back to your job instantly. You go to your job instantly. I will use myself as an example. When I finished, I returned home instantly. So what I did upon getting home is just to sign resumption of duty form. And that's all. Then submitted my PhD certificate, and a year after I was promoted to the next level of senior lecturer at that time. So you have your job, and then you can go back to the job instantly. So you don't need to think about any other thing. Secondly, the another opportunity you have a PhD and you have a job in Nigeria, is that you can stay for a while and then apply for a postdoc. The university, in most cases, they will put you under bond. They can say you need to stay for 1-to-1, that is, if you spend 3 years, if you are paid for 3 years, you have to spend, you have to also stay for 3 years before you can go for something else. But in most cases, they give exception, especially if you have accumulated leave over the years. So you can go for your postdoc, immediately you return home, like a year or maximum of 2 years after you return home. Number two, you can pick up fellowship immediately. Maybe a few months after your return, if you have a short fellowship, you can do that. For example, immediately I arrived in July 2013. In July, throughout 2013, I didn't do anything. I was still at home. I was in my university. And by 2014, I got some conferences from TEDFund that I will also be talking about. So you have that opportunity also. You can go for conferences or research meetings. Like for me, in 2014, I went for a conference, sponsored conference in the United States. And not only that, I also got this fellowship at MIT then in 2015. So I was in MIT in 2015, and yet I was still being paid at home based on my leave of accumulated leave. And also, I think the greatest opportunity that somebody with a PhD and is having job has in Nigeria is the mentorship that you can give to your students with a lot of compassion, focus, and experience. My brothers, I think they really need us at home, especially the young kids. You know, there's a very big gap in the way we mentor students in the university these days. Most of the lecturers, especially those who have not stepped out of the country, you know, they are like demigods to students. So when they see you, that you are so compassionate, you want them to move close to you, you know, they become so happy. I will give you an instance. When I returned, I made a schedule and I pasted it on my door that I was having office hour. I'm sure that some of us will be used to it in KVPN now, even if we were not used to it in Nigeria, when we were in Nigeria. Now, I had office hours about, I think, 3 to 4 hours per week. And anytime I went to class, then I would tell them, between 12 and 1 on Wednesday, for example, is my office hour. And once you come, my door will not be closed. My door will be open. Just come directly. It is your time. You know, the students were mad and said, what is this guy talking about? We've been going to lecturer. They never allow us in, or they didn't give us time, or they didn't, you know, they didn't give us opportunity to get close to them. So they were so amazed, and it has a big effect on them. So you see some students, they will come with academic problems, and I'm not very sure whether the network is very clear because it's raining here in Nigeria, in Nogumasho, and it's likely to affect the network.
It's very
Can
clear.
we now have some feedback?
It's very clear.
It's very clear.
It is very clear. Very, very clear.
Yeah, okay. All right. So that gives a lot of opportunity. You have undergraduate students, you have master students, you have PhD students. Today, I spoke to one of my PhD students. Actually, the guy I just drafted to be a co-supervisor for that student about, I think just about 2 months ago. And the student talked to me today. He said that I did mean that he knew me, or I was part of the PhD supervision for 2 years ago, he would have finished. Because this guy seemed not to know anything. I gave him so many things to do. He said, oh, this guy is going to kill me. Eventually, he is very happy about the way I'm handling him. So we need that. We need that. And unless we are at home, I don't think we can actually do that. We cannot really do that. And also, another opportunity we have here is that you have a lot of PhD students. You have master students, you have PhD. As I'm talking now, I think my master students, both as a major supervisor and co-supervisor, they should be about 10 or 15. The PhD students are about 5, and so many of them still want to join the PhD program in this university. So you can build your career with them, you can mentor them, and they can be happy at the end of the day. Another thing that is extremely important is the leadership role. The leadership role and the opportunity to practice what innovation into the system. You see, let me say that for some of us that are very used to the government university, things are not straight at all. When it comes to the issue of results, the issue of lectures, the issue of examinations, things are not perfect at all. I will give you an example. You know, 500, only 400 students or 100 after the exams have been conducted. They will be looking for their results. The lecturer will say, oh, no, come today, come tomorrow. Some of them, they will be on it until they consider it as a spillover. You know, when I became HOD just less than a year ago, what I first did is the issue of attendance in the exam and attaching the attendance of the student who sat for the exam with the results to be presented to the head of department for approval. What do I mean by this? 500 students sit for ME 205, and they all wrote the exams. They sign in and sign out in attendance, confirming that they sat for the exam. Not only that they sat because they signed in because they sat for the exam, but they signed out because they submitted their scripts. Because we have so many students who will not submit their script. For example, if the exam is very difficult, they will just take the script away because the students are so many, so very difficult for us to control. Now, so what I did was that student must sign in, they must sign out. If a student does not sign out, that means that student did not submit. And the implication is that we will report him to the disciplinary committee of the university, exam disciplinary committee. And I'm telling you, as of today, more than 20 of such students are being sent out for 2 semesters, 4 semesters, based on that. Now, if you hear mechanical now, everybody is shivering. Oh, don't play and keep acting with mechanical in LAUTECH again. Now, so when the result is ready for submission, as a lecturer or as an instructor, you must attach the attendance of those who sat for the exam with the result. And I must count it, they must be the same. The number of results you release and the number of students that sat for the exam must be the same. It was a big problem, my brother. When I first started it was so difficult for people. People who come, they say, oh, they couldn't find 10 scripts. They couldn't find 15 scripts. I said, no, it's impossible. You must find them. Maybe you left them at home. Maybe during recording, there's a problem. My faculty member, they find it difficult, but eventually they all adjusted. I'm telling you, as at last semester, there was no single result that we did not release. And when I took the idea to the faculty level, like college level, the other head of department, they said, no, what is all this now? We cannot do that, we cannot do that. But because I've already discussed with my dean before then, that this is the idea innovation I'm bringing. Eventually everybody got aligned with it, and that is of awaiting result anywhere in my department and most of the departments. It was a huge relief for the students because the students are always at the receiving hand. They are receiving hand because lecturers are not, they will use it from good stuff last semester. So that's just one of them. That's just one of the experiences that I want to share with you. But that is not possible if I've not got all the experiences I've got and my own personal determination to make sure that everything is in order. All right. So it also gives me opportunity, especially, it can give you opportunity to serve in so many committees. So the working of the university. You know how university work, at the Senate level, at the result processing committee, at dean's level, at HOD's level, and some other things. So the working of the university. So it's very important for you to do so. And if you're also in company, it also gives you the opportunity as well to rise very quickly. Because of my time, if you have a master without job, my brother, as I said, you are not very welcome because it's like you are just coming back to square one. You have so many students, so many people with individual with masters here. They're also looking for job. At the end of the department, I've met so many things. One of my colleagues that we graduated together in LATEC in 2013, I was actually instrumental to bringing him back into the system, although as an honorary assistant lecturer. Imagine somebody we graduated together in 2013. No, sorry, in 2003. That's 17 years ago. He just got a better job just this year. And not only that, a friend of mine who finished his master in the UK just called me that he also sent his own applications. And a guy who just finished his PhD from Malaysia also sent me his application. So my brother, it's not so easy if you don't have the top requirement. Somebody with PhD but without job is struggling. And that is why I put it in my poll that how long do you think you can get a job if you don't have a job and you finish your PhD? My brother, normally it can go beyond 1 year. I have a friend, he got a job far after 1 year when he got here. A student of mine who just got back about 6 months ago is still struggling to get something else, to get a job in the university. So please don't think that because you have PhD is to get a job, or people should, it is not like that. And as I said, you can also struggle to get a job in private or multinational. This is also not very easy because of the quantum number of such degree holders that we currently have in Nigeria. And finally here, if you have a PhD without job, you also have opportunity to teach in universities, especially private university or newly established federal university. You have that opportunity, but as I said, it's not automatic. You can be on it for 1 year, even beyond 1 year. So we should know that, as well as in multinational or government parastatals. So it is not, if you don't have anything in Nigeria, I will not advise you to rush down to the country, even if you have a PhD. If you can get a job over there, I think it's better for you to get some experience before you come here. Don't say because you have a PhD now, then everybody should be looking for you in Nigeria. Nobody is looking for you, let me tell you. And finally, as a form of advice, for those of us who just finish our master, I will advise you to stay put, especially if you don't have a job as an actor, if you want to return. Dr. Abro was talking about it. Hello? I will finish in a few, just 1 minute, please. So, and also do not break bond between you and your place of job.
Dr. Ashafa, if you can hear me, I think we lost you. We lost Dr. Ashafa, I think. Kindly unmute your mic if you can hear me, Doctor.
I think it must be network, given
Hello?
that he said...
Okay, Doctor, you're back. Thank you.
I'm very sorry. It's raining very, very heavily now.
Yeah, we understand.
So I don't know where I got to before the network disconnected.
The last slide on advice.
The last slide advice, right?
Yes, on
okay,
advice.
That's okay. So in the point number 3 here, what I'm trying to drive home is that what goes around comes around. Don't think because you now have a better opportunity, you have a job over there, or you just jettison your place of work in Nigeria. It is not good. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. It is better for you to clear your bond, pay any amount of money they ask you to pay, and then stay put is better. And then keep good relationship with your former and present colleague. You may need them sooner than you think. And here I said, Nigeria is not a bed of roses. Prepare for disappointment. Let me also say that we have not got electricity in my home for the past about 36 hours. I have to put on gen twice today to be able to use my laptop for this presentation. So it's not a bed of roses. And even the roses themselves, they have what do they call it? Right, so please take note of that. And think what you can offer when you go back to Nigeria and not what Nigeria can offer you. It's extremely important, because if you think that once you get there, you'll be recognized everywhere, nobody is actually looking for you, especially if you do not have any job. So these are pieces of my advice, and I thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much, Doctor, for the wonderful presentation. We pray may the Almighty Allah continue to guide and protect you. So we move on to the next item we have on the agenda. I hope my screen is visible now. Which is we have for us now again, just like we did when we started. We have some recharge card for every one of us here. Let's see the fastest finger. You might have some other winner this time around. We have the mobile network from Saudi Arabia and Airtel from Nigeria. This is Airtel from Nigeria. So you have the cards over there. We have this for like, we'll be displaying this for like 1 minute and we can go ahead and try our luck. Kindly let us know in the chat room also if you have it already.
Also, don't forget to type your questions into the chat box if you have any questions as regards all the presentations thus far.
Okay, finally 15 riyal is gone. Then also for those that are requesting for the slide, we have a form in the chat room. You can just fill in there with your email address in case you wish. If you are able to get a copy of the presentation slide and this video, we will share it with you via the email address. So just fill the form in the link to the form is in the chat room. Okay, Airtel is gone. Most likely, maybe the other ones, because we also have viewers on the Facebook page. So they might not be able to interact with us via the chat room. Hopefully, maybe some of them got the recharge card also. That is also a possibility. We are also, because we are displaying this event live on the NCUPM Facebook page. So that's also a possibility that someone from that page also might have gotten the recharge card. So we can go ahead now to the next item on the agenda, which I think is on the general discussion. And on the general discussion, it's going to be very briefly. We are running closer to Maghrib prayer here. And the first speaker here would be Dr. Tamino Abdulkadri. Dr. Tamino, please, are you around?
Yes, I'm around, sir.
Okay, briefly, just we need your advice to advise our students because we are going to have most of them also waiting to get their visa, the new visa, change of visa. Briefly, just add 1 or 2 things to what have been discussed earlier. Thank you very much, Doctor. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to start by apologizing first to the NCUPM group and the head, that's Dr. Adam. Because of this topic that is given to me, I felt I should apologize because I went home hoping to come back within 1 month and get my new post. But unfortunately, the visa was delayed. I had to stay for 6 months thereabout. So what I want to say about this is for the graduates, I congratulate all of them. And like Dr. Taslim said, going back home without anything at hand is not an option now. But staying in the kingdom could be an option. Either you're waiting for your visa or waiting for visa to elsewhere whether it is USA, Canada, or other university within the kingdom, or even waiting for the admission. I think that is the best option, especially if you are sure that you have a wide range of dates for your IQAMA. That is your IQAMA is valid for maybe more than 1 year or so. That means you are guaranteed of your insurance, health insurance, and you can also get some part-time job and be able to live comfortably. While waiting in KFPM, you can still do some valuable things, like connect with some professors that have a lot of work that has not been published. I know one of our colleagues that did that, and in 1 or 2 years of his waiting, he was able to do a lot of work. So he didn't just wasted the time like that. He was able to publish a lot of papers, and finally he got his admission and moved to the United States. Now, regarding going back to Nigeria to get the visa, as I said earlier, make sure you at least have the visa from here before going home. That is my advice, because I'm a practical example. I went home before the visa without even releasing my accommodation, my house, and my other properties, but I had to stay for 6 months. So wait first. You can be able to even push for the visa if you're around. So if the visa is ready and you happen to go back home, one thing that I will emphasize that I notice most of us have not looked into that direction is the issue of security in Nigeria. I think this is very, very important because you'll be moving around trying to get your the requirement for the visa. You have to be really careful of how you go about your business. The security in Nigeria is, as far as I know, while I was around, it is in a very, very bad situation, high level of kidnapping, robbery, and others. So you have to be very, very careful, actually. I would advise that the important thing that you do in your state, finish them, and then move to Abuja and reside there. For those of us that are in the north, if you must go to Abuja, I would advise you to use the train services. It is safer, even if it means you will stand there and not sitting down. It is better than following the buses. Then before you go there, make sure that you test yourself on this necessary medical requirement, because you need a medical certificate. Tests like malaria and typhoid can draw you back from getting your visa. So make sure that you have tested that before going to Abuja. Again, with this COVID-19 thing, I'm very sure that something like that will come up as part of the medical certificate requirement. So while at home in Nigeria, make sure you stay away from anything that can get you closer to getting any symptom that can be close to COVID-19 symptoms. That include anything like coughing, sneezing. Stay away from those things as much as you can before going to the hospital. So another important thing, all other things about visa processing, like the police character, the going to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, remain the same. But the changes are in this INJAS. Recently, they introduced this INJAS that you have to do it yourself. Before, we used to give it to an agent to do it for us. And this INJAS of a thing is exactly what translates into your visa, which will be stamped on your passport. So it is very important to fill this form carefully, making sure that you put the right names the way they are on your passport. If you have a dependent like children, wife, etc., make sure that their names appear exactly as it is on the passport. And your dependent occupation should be, if she's a wife, should be housewife. And to live with you. The occupation of your son should be a son and to live with you. And the same thing, your daughter should be a daughter. Because your wife is a medical doctor, you are not supposed to write that her occupation is a medical doctor. because she's just coming to stay with you. Now, any mistake on that form will cost you another $10.5 because you have to do another one. And the worst thing is you may not know until when you go to the embassy on the final stage of the stamping of the visa. And that's when they will tell you that you have to go back and start the process from the beginning, because from the beginning, it means you have to get another NJAS, you have to go to medicals to transfer your certificate to the new NJAS, and you have to go to the VFST Tashil, where they take the fingerprint again to transfer your fingerprint on the new NJAS. Now, what that means is it will cost you a lot of money. Traveling within Abuja is expensive. It will cost you a lot of time. Time is very valuable. And repeating some of these things, they are really challenging. So that's why you need to be very, very careful about NJAS of a thing. The VFS office requests you to book first before going. Normally, you have to book like a week or so ahead of time. But with the situation, since it is not Hajj or Umrah time, you can book today. And if you're lucky, go there the next day. That's what most of us did. You will pay them 10,000 riyal, 10,000 naira for each person. And you are just doing it for the elders, that's you and your wife, excluding the children. For the medical certificate, as at February, it costs around 27,500 per person. I don't know of now, perhaps they might have because of these economic issues. There is this issue of eligibility letter, which someone informed us that it's also important that you have your document attested in the Ministry of Education, and then you receive eligibility letter. However, we recently discovered that this is only important for those coming from or going to Saudi Arabia with a certificate from elsewhere, not from Saudi Arabia. If your certificate is from Saudi Arabia, you are fine. You don't need to go into that level. Now, if you have all these requirements and you move to the embassy, usually it takes an average of 2 days to get your visa stamped. And once your visa is stamped, you then submit that of your family, which in some cases might take just 1 day or at most 2 or 3 days, and you have your visas ready. Because of the time, I think I will stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to participate in this great gathering. Assalamu alaikum wa
rahmatullahi. Mr. Isa, are you there? Over to you.
Yes. Thank you very much to our wonderful speakers. We've recorded some of the, I believe the next is for us to answer some of the questions, right?
No, you have Dr. Babalola. I think it's already to give one or two advice.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think I don't have a brief of his bio with me, but however, I think Dr. Babalola could go ahead and take the floor.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Doctor.
Eid Mubarak to everybody. I think I'm well known. You don't need to introduce me again. I'm one of the youngest in the community, alhamdulillah. Yeah, I think I should start by congratulating the graduates. May Allah put barakah in your achievement and make the next step easier than the ones you've passed through. A lot has been said by different speakers on when it gets to giving advice, pieces of advice. What I'm going to focus on, I'm sorry I didn't prepare any PowerPoint, whatever. I'm just going to talk offhand, so just bear with me. I will focus on character. And I'm going to look at this from maybe 4 points of view. One, when we were coming here, we came as an ambassador of Nigeria. Now we are not just an ambassador of Nigeria, we have added 2 or 3 more feathers. We're going to be living here as an ambassador of KFUPM, We're going to be living here as an ambassador of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You really need to see positively what you've gained from Saudi Arabia, what you've gained from KFUPM, so that when you live here, instead of being negative about the system, you please try to be positive about what you've gotten from here. You may have had a lot of expectations, aspirations, which were not met, but by and large, I think we've all gained exceptionally from the system. When I was coming almost 25 years ago or so, the kind of contract they gave, you think when you get there, the money will just be flowing and you just be sending money, especially for those of us that had family at home. But those kind of expectations were died. But we still survive. You have survived this. And please, when you go out there, either for PhD, either on a job, try to live as a good ambassador of the KFUPM and ambassador of Nigeria. That's point number one. My second advice to you is that you live yourself. Try to live yourself, give your own image, don't pretend. Especially for those of us who might be going for PhD or job opportunity in the West. When you get out there, if you pretend and you don't show your true image when you get there, and maybe towards the mid or later part of your stay, you start showing, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, this is how we do it, you'll find yourself in trouble. They say first impression lasts long. So try to make yourself the way you are, present yourself the way you are, don't camouflage, don't be like a chameleon and try to change overnight. My third point is when it comes to looking for a job, some people have been commenting on the first presentation by Brother Abdul, especially the MSc graduates, that his focus was mainly on PhD. Yes, we academicians, this is what we know best, this is our business. So this is what we sell to you guys. We encourage you, I mean, I look for PhD for admission for almost 16 years, from 85 to 2000 to 1996, for almost 12 years before I came here for my second master's. And my intention was not for the master's. I wanted a PhD by all means. So this is what we know. I think that was why he was emphasizing that. But that doesn't mean that you cannot be out to look for a job. I think what I understood by his speech is that you take the best, the first opportunity that comes your way. If it's a job that comes your way, take it. If it's a PhD that comes your way, take it. And if you have two of them at the same time, then you pray about it. Let Allah choose for you. Let God choose for you on which way to go. So it's not it's an open-ended situation. It's not a closed system that you are forced to go for PhD. I think he just gave the advice based on his own perspective, and being academicians, that's what we preach to potential students. Then, looking for job is another area you have to be very careful about that. Either you are looking for a job, you are looking for admission, you'll be surprised that you will send so many applications. When I finished my master's here in 1999, it was a very tough time to get a job. I stayed here for 1 year without a job. We were sending applications here and there. Almost everywhere you get negative. But don't be deterred. Don't be discouraged that why is it me? Has God not favored me? Why? No, it's everything that is going to happen to a human being in life is already destined. That is part of the article of faith in Islam, 6th article of faith. We are destined, everything is destined for us. So just wait and be, and there is a saying, a general saying in Yoruba, out of 201 suitors, you will get one that will be the husband of the woman. So out of so many applications you will send, you get at least one that will click. So just be prayerful and be patient. So another, my normal saying, which I normally tell you guys when we do orientation for you, is that you protect your name, protect your family name, protect your heritage. You don't, because you want to achieve, you want to make quick achievement and you go to do what you're not supposed to do. The saying I normally give, which I think is already in the NCUPM website, is that a good name is more valuable than gold or silver. So as much as you are desperately looking for opportunities, try to live a way that you don't tarnish your image, you don't tarnish the image of your family, you don't tarnish the image of your heritage. I think next thing, which I think is important too, one of the student speakers talked about teamwork. Teamwork is very important. When we all came here for masters, we found out that because of the relative grading, you think you can do things on your own and just outsmart the other. It doesn't work like that. So you need this, even when you get onto the job. You need to be able to collaborate with others. You need to be able to work with others and accommodate others. Some of them may be very naughty that you don't want to, and we are experiencing it, even we that were already experiencing the field. But you still need to try and build teamwork. And this is the only way you can develop your leadership attributes. I think with that, the Adhan is being called now. I'm going to cut off from here. I say congratulations again to all of you. And we pray that Allah will see us through this current world health crisis and we get out of it unscathed. We pray that our family will all be safe and we all live to tell the stories in the end, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair for giving me this opportunity. I think the saying goes, that's why you gave me to be the last speaker. I appreciate it. May Allah bless all of you. Jazakumullah khair again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Doctor, for the wonderful advice. May the Almighty Allah continue to guide and protect you. And we hope to be able to still have more of such advice from you as the elders in the community for a very long time to come. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Yeah.
So we are really running out of time now. The Maghrib time here is gone, but we just round up briefly. We just move on first to the question and answer section. While I hand over to Malam Isa to handle the question and answer section, I will also be displaying the last batch of recharge card while Malam Isa goes ahead with the question and answer session. So Malam Isa, you can ask the question and hopefully we still have the speakers available to answer the questions. So on the screen, we have the last batch of recharge card for anyone. You can try. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nas. So we have 3 questions here, and all 3 questions are directed to Dr. Taslim Ashafa. So I don't know if he's still connected.
Dr. Taslim, I think it's still...
Yes, okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, so I will quickly just read the 3 questions. The 3 questions are directed to you.
Okay,
the first one says...
I have them. Or
okay.
If you still want to read them, it's okay.
Okay, just for others.
Okay.
He said, how could, thank you for your presentation. How could you explain a collaboration between those outside and those at home in terms of research, just like you are doing with the Lautech Nano Research Group? Is it possible there could still be some financial benefits such that while one is working at home, one can get incentive through such international collaborations and not rely solely on the salary at home? That's the first question. The second one says, can you please address the financial constraint of PY returning to lecturing job in Nigeria, given that the constraint of salary of lecturer L1 in Nigeria university is less than 2,000 reals? And the last question, that's, I guess the person is talking about the salary structure. Then the last question is, how do you make your senior colleagues in your department follow or accept your leadership and plans, given that you were trying to implement something they were not used to? And of course, there should be some, will I say, people who will probably not be comfortable with those changes. So basically, those are the 3 questions to you.
Okay, all right. Let me quickly answer it because I have a very low battery on my laptop right now. For the first question, I think what we are doing in our Lautech Nanotechnology Research Group
is to have a very viable collaboration with some of our partners. We have partners at Nanotechnology Research Group in KFUPM, at the RI, we have in South Africa, and I also have a special relationship with some guys in Egypt. So we do a lot of work together. You know, the research area is something that is difficult to manage in Nigeria. You're talking about nanomaterials, you need a lot of equipment to be able to come out with a very viable research. You need 10 transmission electron microscope, you need scanning electron microscope and things like that. So, but with our collaborators, so what we do here is to produce samples, and then we send samples for them for further characterization. We do the basic one here, and then they do the complex one. And then any publication we write or we do, they will always be part of publication. They are always cohort us in those publications. In terms of finance, financial benefits, sincerely yours, we have not really had any. We have not shared any money. We are contributing to fund the research group. We pay a certain amount of money every month to fund our research group. So, but we are very hopeful that we are going to get money later on. We have, we are writing for research fund. The Ministry of Technology is already aware of our program. They came during our conference, about 5 of them stayed for about 5 days to attend our program. So they are giving us assurance of the ministry support. And also for the conference organizations, you know, we're also getting small amount of money. People register for the conference, they pay a certain amount of money. And the university also gives us support. I think last conference we had, the university gave us 500,000 naira to support us. So we have some money, but at individual level, we have not shared a single dime since we started the group since 2014. And yet we have published maybe over 30 papers in the area of nanotechnology. Okay, let me stop at that. For the second question, well, the salary at home, as you know it, is not a very good one. As a lecturer one, yeah, just a lecturer one, maybe you have just around 200,000 naira or so. That is not very good. And as a result of that, if you are coming back home, even with a PhD and with a job, you need to be very, very smart, searching for further opportunity. As an individual, let me tell you that since 2014, since 2013 that I returned to Nigeria, there has never been a single year that I didn't travel outside the country. So I've gone to MIT fellowship, well sponsored. I have gone for conferences in the United States, well sponsored. I was also at the University of Afrobatin for 2.5 years. And in all those times, I was paid at home. So if you know how to manage that, you can be comfortable. For example, I don't have any extra job apart from teaching, and yet I'm comfortable. I'm sponsoring so many programs, contributing to research groups, and also giving money out to people. Another thing is that you have opportunities to get research fund, although it's very difficult, especially from PTDF or TED fund rather. It's so difficult, but we are working on that. I'm very sure that I'm going to get one very soon. I've been on it for some time. And also, if you are due for sabbatical, it's also an opportunity for you to make some money. You get double salary for the whole of that period. You can also use your accumulated leave for universities that operate accumulated leave, meaning that every leave you have annually, you accumulate. You don't go for leave because of the problem we have in the university stability. So once you have about, I think about 3 or 4 years or 5 years, you can go for 1 year on accumulated leave and you'll be paid during those times. So these are opportunities. If you are coming back home, utilize those opportunities. Be very smart with your coming back. Don't just say you are going back and then you come back, you are not doing anything. Life will be very frustrating because the salary is actually not enough. You can hardly make, you can hardly do any project if you just sit.
Okay, Mr. Issa.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Teslim, for addressing that. We have lots of questions and concerns by graduates. However, there are suggestions as well that we should probably just round off that today's program, and then the social committee will sit again and probably make it a monthly event where we have individuals and senior professors come to address the graduates and as well people who are still in school. Because most of the questions raised here is not something we can address today, but inshallah we'll sit and look into them and then decide on how best to address the concerns that have been raised. So I guess we can move on to the vote of thanks if possible.
Yeah, Mr. Tajuddin Oyehan will be giving the vote of thanks. Mr. Tajuddin, Mr. Tajuddin, are you available?
I'm so sorry, my laptop battery got flattened, so I quickly switched to my mobile. Hello.
Hello, doctor.
All right, please, can you read the third question for me so I can quickly put some answer to it? I actually typed them on my laptop, so I don't have access to them now. The third question.
Madam Isa.
Yes. Okay, you've already addressed the question on collaboration of the nano research.
Yes,
And
the third
you've
one, the
addressed,
third question.
okay, the third one is about how you got the senior professors to, senior colleagues
Oh,
to.
all right. Let me quickly say that that's really very interesting. You see, a lot of things depend on your humility in Nigeria. If people see you as a threat, that, oh, you have a better degree than them, you have better experience than them, there will be a lot of resistance. So what I do to my senior colleagues, and don't forget, these are colleagues that actually taught me right from year 2 to year 5. So they know almost everything about me. So what I do to them is I put them in their right position. I behave like a student to them. So I still call them my oga, my teacher. And anytime, a lot of time, anytime we are speaking, I will refer to one course. They taught me, oh, Prof, remember when you taught us, and so. So, even if they want to have some resistance, that will soften their mind. And any decision I want to make, I will go to them one by one to discuss my plan. And by the time we get to the general meeting at the departmental level, there is always a very big support. Sincerely, yours, I've not got a lot of resistance. Everybody has always been following me. And that's the technique I've been using, and I think it's working. Even at faculty level, what I do is that I meet some HOD personally to discuss my agenda for the faculty meeting. And I also meet the dean as well that, sir, this is what I want to bring to the table. Please, what do you see to it? We discuss it, we iron it out, and by the time I introduce it, there's always a least resistance to it. And that's what I've been doing. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Nas, before we go to the vote of thanks, Dr. Taslim, is it
Yes, sir.
possible? There are some concerns that have been raised which we don't have time to address. I would also like to probably reach out after now to have your responses, and then we can as well get them across to those who have asked those questions after now.
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay,
You
inshallah.
have Mr. Tajudin there, is my brother. I can give you everything about him.
All right, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, doctor. We appreciate you very much. So, Mr. Tajuddin Oyehan. Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, let me quickly.
Please 1 minute. While the vote of thanks is going on, we'll also be displaying the feedback poll. So please kindly participate in the poll while Mr. Tajuddin gives us the vote of thanks. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Okay, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah for the success of the program so far, and we thank Him for preserving us till now. At least none of us is sick. None of us has so far succumbed to this COVID. So we thank Allah for many things, and we want to appreciate everyone, starting from the presenters, members of the community, members of social committee, and people that are joined from different parts of the world. We want to thank you, especially people that are joined from Nigeria, given the situation in the country in terms of electricity in particular, and sometimes network, but still they managed to join. I want to, in particular, thank the Shura committee members, starting from Dr. Adam, Dr. Abudia, and all other all other people in the leadership. Then, secondly, I would like to thank the social committee, all members of social committee, and especially the subcommittee, organizing committee that consists of Brother Muhammad Isa, Nasruddin, Pilot, and others. I want to thank you, and then I want to also use this opportunity to congratulate and thank all the graduating students. But because we don't have time, I would have loved to mention some names of maybe especially thank all the presenters in particular for their time, and then I would like to apologize to them for my disturbance, because I disturbed I disturbed them with a lot of messages. Then I also want to apologize to some other members that I thought who will have time and they will address us, starting from Dr. Palara, Dr. Tawhid, Debu, and some other people from US and Canada that we think maybe if we have time, they will have had the opportunity to say one thing or the other about the community. And from the suggestions that the student meet, that there should be NCUPM alumni database, we will still discuss this with the Shura Council, and hopefully, inshallah, if they permit it, then it will come to fruition, inshallah. Because many of people that we regard as alumni, they actually join here. And some like Dr. Akshafa, he was part of us. He is part of KVPM, and he still joined. He's one of the members of the alumni. And we have many other people like that will benefit the association and also benefit people in Nigeria that want to join. So not to waste our time, because Maghrib time has already passed, and my Jama, as Imam in my house, my Jama are already beckoning on me. So I want us to end this program. So, but before we end, let me remind you to also give us this free feedback. The feedback is important to us. It enables us to see what are the lapses and what we should improve upon. So thank you very much. Let me end it here. Thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullahu khairan. Mr. Isa, are you available? Mr. Isa Muhammad.
He's not there. Okay, he's back.
Okay. Thank you very much to anyone. So, Mr. Mohideen, I think you just came on now. Please kindly give us the closing prayer, then we round up the event for this time. Hopefully, inshallah, in the nearest future, we'll be having another very entertaining event. We appreciate everyone for attending. Mr. Mohideen, pilot.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Alhamdulillah for the program. We appreciate Allah for giving us the opportunity to start and end in good terms. I pray Allah make it a source of blessing for every one of us. What we have learned from our leaders, I pray it will be a source of blessing to us in every of our decisions we took. We are going to take. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. We appreciate every one of us. Thank you for attending this first of its kind event. We say Jazakumullahu khairan to everyone. Thank you.
Wayakumullah. Bye-bye.
Thank you to the organizers.